Welcome all, and today we are going to actually model something very interesting. It's about this evaluation tower that you can see. It's some like very uncommon building type compared to a rectangular building shape, and it's just like the same rectangular building. It is rotated about. Let me say, if uh, consider uh, this column, it's finally here. So that means it's 90, then it's around here, right? So that means it's rotated 180 degrees, right? So the inner columns stay as it is while the slab is rotated, right? So that all remains as it is. So we are going to today model it numerically, right? Using Etabs. And this is very interesting because you don't often see these modeling techniques in regular tutorials. So let me start with the dimensions, basic dimensions. So for the dimensions, they used x direction grid lines 9 and y direction as well 9, and then the grid spacing 7 meters, and so it's equal, meaning that it's a square shape, right? So slab, and then the number of stories is 55, where the story height is 3.6. It should be meters. Okay. That meters, and the inner columns 1200 millimeters squared, and the edge columns, I'll show you what are these edge columns and inner columns, and the beams 800 by 14, and the shear wall is 400 millimeter thickness, slab is 300 millimeter thickness. So the evolved angle, as I mentioned before, is 180 degrees. So you have 55 stories. So the rotation, right? So the rotation per story is about 3.27 degrees, right? So we'll start with the Etabs. Go to Etabs. Hope you can see the screen, and we'll go with the new model. And it's showing that default settings, but we need metric system, so it's metric. For now, you can select anything because we are not going to do any still design or concrete design. So we are basically modeling the structure. So press OK, and then number of grids. So you can select 9, 9, and then 7, 7. Number of stories 55, 55, and then the story height 3.6, and it's also 3.6. So that's okay. So grid only, we didn't model the building still, so it's the grid. So we are at, so it's showing the plan view, right? In the first video, so I'll show you how to model the basics of Etabs. Please check on that video. I'll put the link in the description as well. So from these buttons, you can go to any story, right? 3, story 2, likewise. Now I'm still at story 55, right? So basically, they are giving the same view. If you want, you can set this to 3D view as well. So I'll go with plan view, story 50. So if you want any story, you can pick it, and if you think need to check the base, so you can go to base. I'll remain with story 55, and if you want elevation model also, you can see it. So keep this in 3D view. Don't change that. So first thing is you need to define the materials that you are going to use. So I'll use this 400 psi means concrete. So my units are in metric units. So I'll add a copy of material. So I choose that is concrete. For now, I will not specify any grades. So I'll check this as 25. Okay. Other things are okay, concrete. Okay. And I need to define section properties, add new property, concrete rectangular. So my interior columns are 1200 millimeters. So the material is concrete. So this is 1200 by 1200. So press OK and copy that material and change it to 800 by 800. So that means this is also 800, the dimensions. So this is the name of the property and then which material this section is, and display color, note. If you want any advanced options, modify, you can select the rebar as well if you want to reinforcement to be checked or reinforcement to be designed, right? So if you are designing, put this as this, but we are not going to design this video. I'll cover a later video. And click OK. So add a copy and then the 800 by 400. So 800 is the depth, is the width, concrete. So my beam and column elements are okay. Then I go with slab. So new property, slab. My slab is 300. Okay. Put deep shelving 300 millimeters. Okay. Then it's unlike SAP, they define different options for slab and walls. In SAP 2000, you have all thing in the area section, right? So they define differently slab, deck, and separate. Shear wall is 100. Great. Okay. Since my arrangement is same in every floor, I can easily draw this using. So there are many advanced options actually. So if you are drawing only a one story, so you will be keeping this option, but in the same time you can draw all the stories. I check all stories. Okay. So I'll quick draw the columns, right? Quick draw the columns. So my column section is interior columns, 1200. So I need at these points columns. Okay. Please check. I'm drawing at story 55 and I'm selecting all stories. So that means all the stories will be drawn. So I'll left click and drag the window to where I need the columns. So you can see it's marked and then release the left click. Then that will be automatically drawn, right? Or for all the stories, because we have chosen from this option, right? So but when you are rotating the slab, these columns will be out of the slab. So I need to delete those columns. So press escape because still we are in drawing mode. Press escape or this select object mode. So still you can select this because we are in all stories mode. So that means you can see all these things getting selected and press delete. And so these are the interior columns. Edge columns are at here. We will draw it when the slab is rotated, okay? Because those columns are rotated with the slab, right? So not these interior columns, right? Or remain same slab with these edge columns will be rotated, right? So you need to draw the shear wall. So I'll take the center and select these columns as well, and then delete. And I can quickly draw the walls, right? Quick draw walls. So you can see for 400. Right? So you can see you just need to click that line. All the things are drawn. If you want, click this window and then rotate it and see. Okay. All the things have been drawn perfectly, right? So that's okay. And then you can draw the slab. So draw rectangular floor, click it. So the material is slab 300. So left click on this point. While clicking that point, drag that window up to this point. When your cursor is at this point, that will show this red color plus mark, and then release the left click, right? So now the slab was drawn, and it was drawn for all stories and the base as well. So you need to delete it from the base, right? I think it has been drawn in base as well. Yes, you don't need because base is the support, right? And story 1, story 55. Oh, so I think I deleted all those. Not all stories, one story. Go to base, delete the slide, and all stories. So there were two beams on either side on same slab while we are rotating. So I'll show it in the picture as well. Can you see? There's some beam, right? In the facade. So we need to draw that. In the other side, it's not there. The opposite side, that will be there, right? So you can draw that using the beam we define. So draw elements. So all stories. We go with this. It's the beam. This one. So okay, done. And then this one, done. check whether that was drawn in the base as well, because base we don't need anything. No, in the base we don't have anything, right? Everything is okay. Right now we need to, still we didn't draw these columns, right? We will draw this after we rotate slabs, right? So we are now in 55 story, right? 55th story. If you think that, so I have shown you in the PowerPoint, the rotation per story is about 3.27 degrees, so that if you want, you can start it from the 54th story if you need. I'll start with 55, that doesn't matter, right? So I'll click this slab. Sorry, I'm not in select mode. So I'll click this slab and this beam, right? So the easiest one is, let's escape now, unselect all, to left click on this slab and go towards right side until you select this beam as well. Then all the slab and beam will be, it's like AutoCAD. I have discussed with this in the previous video as well. If you go in this way, whatever comes to this box will be selected, and if you are going this way, you will only select the full elements within this box only, right? Okay, it's like AutoCAD. So see here, this beam is not getting selected, but if you go from here to here, this beam will be selected. So now flow and two beams were selected, and go to edit, replicate, radial. So it's about center, right? So we need, either you can positive or negative. I'll go positive direction, 3.27. And make sure you delete the original objects, right? Because we don't need the original, we are rotating the original object, right? So now we are okay. Yes, okay, right? So now we are okay. Then we are in 55, go below 54. Oh, I think I have rotated all these, right? Yeah, all stories. Do that. Check with single stories, one story only. So is, so you can still undo everything by Control Z. Same like Microsoft Word and Excel and all things, right? So edit, replicate, radial, okay, right? So go down to 50. Oh, I did it for 55, right? I have to do it to 55 first. Either you can press Control plus R, that will be directed to replicate as well. 54 is okay, and then 55 is okay. 54, you need this times 2, right? Quickly take a copy of this. I'll show you why. It's okay. No, it's okay. Go to 53. Because the angle of rotation will be increased by flow, right? That this will be rotated. This will be rotated about 3.27 into 3 times. Take a copy quickly, otherwise that will be right? Multiplied and press on select only the value. Press OK. So what I'm telling you, copy that is when you do that by each flow, because you have to do by each flow, right? So when you're going increase by number and number, sometimes you will be mistakenly put the same number for each flow. It's like 3.2 into 6. The next one is also 3.2 into 6. But if you copy that number 3.2 into 6, you know that for the previous flow, I used this number. So I have to increase by 1. So for instance, for the next flow, I don't now let's say I didn't remember the value. So I go to replicate by control R here. So I know I have used earlier 3, right? So now I need to increase it by 1, 4. Take a copy quickly. And otherwise it will be like this. It will be multiplied, then answer only will be there, right? Press OK. Likewise, you have to keep rotating, right? Until the final one, right? So I have rotated this one and I'll open it that. So evolve tower. So I have revolved it each flow, so that you can see now there's a gap between these, right? So you need to connect these by a column. That column is the 800 by 800 column that we defined earlier. So you go to draw elements, draw beam column. So column 18, 800, and you need to draw it by flow connecting. Twice you have to carefully draw it. So now you can see, so quick right click, it will stop drawing for a moment and then go to 3D and rotate this before you draw it. Otherwise you can't see that, right? Now you can see it's better. Still column 800. In this model, I had said that column 800. In the model I have earlier used, I define it as 800 by 800. Both are same. Right? Likewise, you have to draw it until the end, right? Until the end. Let's say you are drawing it up to here. You can see the support was already added because in the Etabs
if you draw an element up to the base, support will be automatically added most of the time. When the model becomes complex, you can't expect always easy methods to draw the frames, right? I think this is not drawn perfectly. Yes, that's okay. So I need to draw this on each rotation edge, right? So for that, I can replicate. That's a bit tricky, right? So that you'll see this column, I need to rotate to here and here and oh god, I have mistaken from that. I need to erase those. Always check what you have drawn. It's almost okay. So I can select these number of columns. How I select these? Select, go to select, select by the properties, because the section is 800 and 800. So select column 800. So in the first model I've shown you, I define it as 800 and 800. This is another model. I just keep it saved to show you how it's done. You can see it was selected. So then go to replicate. Radial, and now specify the center, right? So your center is not 0 by 0, so you can see the center. Go to plan view, any of the plan. The center is 28, so here you can see the coordinates 28, 28. So go to replicate, specify 8 and 28. Angle is 90 degrees because here the line should be replicated to here, then here, and then here 90, right? So don't need to delete originals, you only copy the items. You can see it was copied. Then you can select the previous selection, so that will select copied items. Then replicate those copied items by 90. Everything's okay. That's okay. That is. Then select the previous, same thing radially. So my model is done. See that, right? So save it. It's good practice to save it and then save as by a different name. Then you have each steps, right? If you make any mistake or any software crashes, So you won't be in trouble. This is the reason I told you to delete this column. See, this column is out of the slab when it is rotated like this, right? So that's why we are deleting this column, right? And yes, I can finally save this. Open the final model. So this is the final model. Our model is done, right? So you can see that it's something interesting model, right? So using basic steps, we can model this, right? So if you want, you can add these loads and analyze this. So top view, so you can see it's beautiful, really. Right? If you want, rotate this and see. Right? One more thing, once you copy, check whether the edges have the support. If not, because we are only copying the columns, not the support. So if not, pick these points, right? Then assign joint restraints. If it is pin, press pin, then okay, right? It's there because I assigned that, right? Normally, what you copy the element, support will not be there. Sometimes will be there because the base, but if not, we have to be careful, right? So if you want to see the rendered view, go to view and then show rendered view. See that view. So if you need the detailing, you can go to detailing, press start detailing. That message was popped up because I had already done detailing. That won't pop up in the first time. So you can see the details, standard details, list of drawings, flow slabs. So you can check any of the flow slabs. So you can see that drawing is there, right? It's nicely drawn. If you need, you can export this. Export view as an AutoCAD TFX file, right? And start exporting if you need. You can take everything from here. That's why I told you, unlike SAP, Etabs is very advanced. Being details, everything is there. Column details, training plans, column layout, so you can see the column layout, tracings, wall layouts, individual walls, everything. For reinforcement, if you do reinforcement, you can take from these things as well. It's standard drawing sheet. You can select everything, and even you can configure these. Because if you want, you can delete this. I think yes, can be moved or deleted. I think. Yes. just delete. And if you want, you can copy this, and I'm not sure, I think you can copy this to that drawing, right? And export it. So this gives you many advanced options. Project report, think report, still not. That's about only the modeling, right? So coordinate and because we didn't do any analysis. If you need, you just because we didn't define any loading. But if you need, you can just run the model for running. Analysis model, you can see the number is still reducing.